we're on the topic of sales, and I just ran into this the other day, talking to a commercial contractor, and I was talking to him about sales and his margins and stuff like that. And he was frustrated because he's on a bid list. He has to submit his bid. He knows that he's got to be within a certain margin to be able to win the job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to get maybe your perspective if you were a commercial contractor or maybe the salesperson for a commercial contractor, and you had to win more jobs at a higher margin. What would the approach be? Because it's a bit different than the residential side, but also it's not.
Yeah, it's a lot different. Yeah. Well, listen, I was a rebar estimator for a minute.
Okay.
I got hired because my last name's Reber, and they hired me to estimate rebar. So, and I ended up costing, I'm not a highly detailed person when it comes to being an estimator. I underbid like my first job that I sold. I think I underbid it by like 50 tons or something. And we got the job. We got the job at the opening. And, all right. So listen, I'm not a fan of the whole, here's the bid, low bid world, right? I understand that is a game that is played.
Yeah.
Right. Just for context, just like there's the flipping, the house flipping game, right? In our world, we're like, you get a 50% gross profit. That's our standard that we're after. We got GCs doing $3-5 million a year, subbing everything out at a 50% gross profit. Okay. Yeah. They're winning, right? So that's our world that we operate mostly in. We have people in these other worlds. If you're a house flipper, the game is different. If you're in commercial, the game is a little bit different when it's that public bid opening stuff, and this is where you got to be. That's just part of the game. So number one, and then we'll get this out of the way, I wouldn't play that game.
Gotcha.
Just me. I just wouldn't play it because I think it takes away so much of the things that you have control over, about how you communicate, how you stay in touch, how you keep the relationships warm, right? And I don't want to play any of this, hey, give me a suite at the baseball game and I'll tell you where you need to be on your price. That's not what I'm talking garbage that happens in the world. You know, I'm talking like, I want to play a game that I can control, you know, my actions, knowing that my actions are going to more likely produce the outcomes that I want. That being said, I would go on the hunt and maybe consider, you know, where is your enemy not? You know, what's the old Sun Tzu quote, right? Like the best battle to win or whatever is when you don't have to fight.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're selling whatever services to facility management companies. Okay. And you could, everybody's doing these bid openings. Everyone's part of this certain, networking group or commercial community or whatever. Well, you know what? What would happen if you started a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how's that going to get me commercial work, Tom? And I'm saying this, I normally say this in my workshops, and I'm going to say it here on the podcast for the world now. Because to my knowledge, nobody has done this yet. Nobody's done this. All right. You're Norman, Oklahoma, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. Let's say you had a commercial general contracting company in Norman, Oklahoma. You go start the Norman Facility Managers Podcast. You host the show. You invite every facility manager in the state of Oklahoma to be a guest and share how to be more successful as a facility manager.
Yeah.
Right? Now you don't have to play the stupid bid game anymore. Right. Now they're coming on, and what's everyone's most important or everyone's favorite topic?
Cost,
sales.
Themselves.
Yeah.
It's themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Hey, Martin, if you're a facility manager with XYZ, blah, blah, blah corporation, you've been there 30 years. I go, man, I'd love to have you come on my show and just share how to, things you've learned, lessons you've learned that would help other facility managers be successful. You're like, you're going to feel important. You're going to share that with your network of people. And now by default, without you pitching, trying to sell a damn thing, you get on the show and you do your welcome going, hey, welcome to the Norman Facility Managers Podcast. My name's Tom Reber with XYZ Construction, and we're excited here to have Martin Holland on the show today. How you doing, Martin?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Done.
Let's talk about me.
Everybody, now every guest and everyone they share it with in their world knows who you are now.
Yep.
So that's what I mean. I would look for, where can I play the game where either nobody's playing, they're not playing at a high level, or they're unwilling to put in the work. Because honestly, I think one of the reasons nobody does this idea is they're intimidated by the whole podcast thing. You remember before you hit play the first time, right? You were terrified like I was. I'm like, you go back, listen to episode 1. I'm like, hi, you know,
Yeah.
and I wasn't even live to the world. I'm recording it. I'm like, hey, and I was totally insecure, and you got to put the reps in, and you got to get better. Take some of your marketing money, take somebody in your office who's more likely to get on a microphone and have fun with it, and who's a good interviewer. It doesn't have to be you, the owner of the company, but this is a marketing thing that you could put some of your budget towards. And then I would say, if you did that, don't judge it for at least 2 years. Do a show a week for 2 years before you pass judgment on it.
Start worrying. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, that's for the commercial world, man. I just think there's too much. Everyone's just playing the same game, just like in the residential world.
The other thing that you would learn from doing a podcast is you'd come to understand what the GCs want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're talking to them about the problems they have, you don't have to say, what do you want? What do you not?
Right.
What's the best thing that ever happened? And you're taking notes over there, and you want to deliver that experience to them because you understand.
Yeah, it's an intel gathering interview.
Yeah.
Every time you do it, you're learning
Yeah.
more about how facility managers think, you know? Hey, if you're a brand new facility manager taking over something, or you're going to tell, you know, what's the first 3 things you're going to do with the first week on the job?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
If you need some, you know, like, you want to make sure that you're not leading the witness in your favor, right? When you're interviewing somebody, because with a set agenda, like, my goal is to get this guy to give me his work, right? No, you're truly
that
adding
will become
value.
apparent. Yeah.
Yeah. You truly add value. It'll come back to you.